Hello everyone, this is Joseph Quested, and today we're going to be talking about variables. So variables in a programming language there are a lot of different kind of metaphors that you can use for understanding what a variable is. I kind of just tend to think of them like a container for data or information. They're just like a way that you can store information, any kind of information. There are lots of different types of variables, and then use it again later in different situations. So let's talk about some of the different types of variables. Um, there is a type of variable called a string. And what a string looks like is any words or sentences or characters that are inside quote marks like this. So you can see down here, they're defining a variable called name, and then they're setting it equal to be this thing old name. And you can see here how I'm starting these lines with let. Um, this is the way that you start by defining a variable, is by putting this word let in here. And there are a few different ways you can do this. There's also you can define things with const. We're going to go into the difference between let and const a little bit later on. And you might also see in some videos, if they're like older videos or from elsewhere around the internet, you might see people starting variables with this var keyword, which is short for variable. So this is the old way that people used to define variables, and now people either do it with const, which generally speaking is for if you're making a variable that it's not going to change. But don't worry about that. For now, we're just going to go with let. It's just kind of the most straightforward one. So you write let and then the name of whatever your variable is, and then an equal sign, and then whatever the data is that you're assigning it to. So you can also just you can declare variables and then just not have them be equal to anything. I can just go like this. But then what you probably want to do is be giving them some kind of data. So we're going to look at the different kinds of variables that there are. Like this, so we've got strings, which is like a little sentence in quote marks. We've got numbers. We've got things called bools, and bools are a true or false. So that's going to be either true or it could also be false. And then we've got objects. So objects are kind of like a special kind of variable that can contain other sort of key value pairs, they call them, of information inside it. I'm not going to dive too deep into those right now because we're going to cover them later on in the JavaScript intro. So just for now, know that there is such a thing as a type of variable called an object. And then the same thing with an array. So we're going to cover those again later on. They're basically like a little container that you can keep lots of different variables inside. And that's kind of really all we're going to cover for now. So let's begin by solving the first one of these little tests that we have here. So these are all of our different kinds of variables that we could be working with. It's probably ones I've forgotten as well. Maybe they'll come to me later on. And then here you can see this first test that we're trying to pass with here. It says welcome is equal to undefined, not passing. You can see we've got a little instruction here that says declare a variable named welcome and assign it the value hello world. So another thing that I would just draw a note to here is see how I've got these little double slashes here? That's what's called a comment. So any code that doesn't have this in front of it, like all of these parts here, this code is real. It's actually happening. The computer's really seeing it, really thinking about it. But whenever you put these double slashes in here, or if you want to do the shortcut, you can do Control and just push the slash key on your keyboard, and it automatically will make something a comment or uncomment it for you. The purpose of those comments is for putting information in that you want to remember later, so you can write notes to yourself about something in a comment. And then also you can have comments that say what stuff does. So here I could be like examples of the different types of variables, like that. And then now we would know that all of this, we would be able to read the comment and we would be able to see what this is here. So let's begin by trying to solve this little challenge. So it says declare a variable named welcome and assign it the value hello world. So this is the declaring part when you do the let. So when it says declare a variable named welcome, here this was me declaring a variable named string. And then here, the assign it, the value hello world part is this bit, the equal symbol, and then the part where I'm defining this value, whatever it is. So if I want to pass this first test, I can say let welcome equal hello world. And let's see if I save the document, now we can see that this is happening here. You've got to always remember to save the document as well. Control S or Command S if you're on a Mac to actually get it to refresh the browser. And you'll notice here that they're using single quotes and I'm using double quote marks. It's actually, it works both ways. So if I was to do this with single quote marks, that also works just fine as well. The only thing that you can't do is you can't mix and match. So here I can't have one little quote mark and two big quote marks. You've just got to pick one or the other. And so yeah, that's the little intro for variables so far. So the kind of stuff that is really the important takeaways from this is the declaring the variable part, where you say let or const or var as we discussed, but we're just going with let for now. And then you give the name of the variable. So that is called declaring the variable and giving it a name. And then here, this is assigning the value of the variable. And the next little test that you're actually going to do here is about changing the value of a variable. So here, I could go like this. Blah, blah, like that. And save it, and you see the test isn't passing anymore because now welcome is equal to blah, blah. So this is me reassigning a variable. And if we comment that out, then we can see it's working again. So that's all we're going to do for this video. Have a go with the rest of these little challenges. There's just like 2 more of these that you need to get passing based on these instructions. And I will see you again soon for functions. Bye.